So let's start the program. I hope I am audible. Uh, so what is the question for 2A program? Design a superclass called staff with details as staff ID, name, phone, salary. Extend this class by writing three subclasses, namely teaching, technical, and contract. So these are the three main subclasses we have to create. The main class named as staff. Write a Java program to read and display at least three staff objects of all three categories. So we have to create three subclasses for the base class staff, and we have to call those subclasses by creating objects for the individual subclasses. So you have to extend the staff in three subclass, that is to be teaching, technical, and contract. Now let's see the program. So our package is set to be daa.lab. That is our package. Inside that we are importing the scanner package. That is a generic package. With use of scanner package, we are just calling the scanner class. Inside the scanner class, we can able to call the predefined method called scan.nextInt, scan.nextFloat, or scan.next. All these predefined functions we can able to call according to our input. What you are getting actually, if you are getting an integer or a floating point or a string, according to the input, we are changing the predefined methods. Next to that, we are just having the class, the first class, what we are having, that is to be class staff. Class staff having four variables, the four variable declarations: int staff ID, string name, long phone, and integer salary. So these are the four variables we have to declare. These four variables are used as a common variables for all the three categories. When you are going for teaching staff, when you are going for contract staff, when you are going for the next staff, that is to be technical staff, whatever the category. These are the four variables are common among these three categories. Now let's see what is the next class we are using. So next class is teaching class. So teaching class extends staff. So what is this mean by extends? Keyword is used for inheritance. It will inherit the base class in the subclass. Mean by the teaching class can able to access the four variables in staff class. That is to be staff ID, name, phone, and salary. These four variables can be accessed by teaching class along with domain and publication. So these four variables along with domain and publication we can able to use in the teaching class. That's why we are using extend staff. Next class we are using technical class. Technical also extends staff class so that you can able to use all these four variables along with skills variables. Skill is an extra variable we have to use in technical class. So it extends staff so that you can able to use the base class staff variables as well as technical class variables. The third class is contract class, that also extends staff so that, as I told, the four variables what we have in the staff that we can able to access here along with the period variable. So what is the logic here? Whenever you are asking asked to enter the teaching staff inputs, you have to give the staff ID, name, phone, and salary. Along with domain and publication you have to give. So these are the total 6 variables we have to give as an input for teaching class. Then for technical class, we have to give staff ID, name, phone, salary, along with skills you have to give as input for technical staff. When you're going for contract staff, we have to give staff ID, name, phone, salary, along with period. So how much years he will work as a contract staff in that particular organization, that we have to give us input here. So these are the 3 different categories we have to declare the variables. Any doubts in this, students? Any doubts? Can we proceed further? Please respond. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next to this, we are having the main class, that is to be staff class. So what we are doing in the staff class, we are having an array. We are having an array that is an integer array So that array size is 2000. We are declaring integer array at the starting of the class. Then we are starting the main function, public static void main. We are starting actually. So in this particular main function, we are declaring some variables. What and all the variables we are declaring? Int x equal to 0, x1 is equal to 0, x2 is equal to 0, L is equal to 0, P is equal to 0. So all these variables will do certain tasks. Some of the variables we are using in for loops. Some of the variables we are using in the counter. So that purpose we are declaring the variables for displaying the serial numbers in our display, in our output. All this purpose we are need of this much variables. Next to that, we are creating object array for teaching class, technical class, and contact class. So object array we have created. O2 is the object for teaching class. O3 is the object for technical class. O4 is the object for contact class. The size of the object array is 1000. We are declaring 1000 as a size of object array for all three classes. So teaching class we declared as 1000. Technical class we declared as 1000. Contact class also we declared as 1000. So these are the three main classes we declared with object array. Now let's see enter the number of staffs. So before that we are declaring this statement scanner scans equal to new scanner system.in. Scanner is a generic class. For that we created the object as scan. So equal to new scanner of system.in. Whenever you are getting output we have to give system.out. Whenever you are getting input we have to give system.in. So system is a generic class. In that we are calling in as a particular method. There we are accessing the scan object. So scan object is used to get the input. With use of the scan object, you can able to call scan dot, scan int, scan float, scan long, all these things. Next to that, enter the number of staffs and enter the number of staffs we are asking. So we have to get the input of number of staffs. Let's say 5. We are getting 5 as input. 5 will stored in the num. 5 will be stored in the num. So we are getting the input for 5 staff members. Let's assume 3 we are giving. Let's assume 3. Enter the number of staffs. If we are giving 3, the num value will be 3. Okay. So now we have to start the for loop. K is equal to 1, st is equal to 0, st less than num, st plus plus k plus plus. So what is the num value? Can you tell me? What is the num value we got from the user? What num value we got from the user? Repeat.
5, sir.
3. We consider as 3 now. Okay. Enter the number of staffs. We consider the num value is 3. Let's consider for 3 only. Okay. So num value is 3. So k is equal to 1, st is equal to 0, st less than num. So st value will be initially 0. So 0 less than num. So what happens? The condition is true or false. 0 less than 3. 0 less than
False.
3.
True.
True. So we have to enter into the for loop. Here we are asking the first question to the end user. Enter the details for the staff. K. What is the k value here? What is the k value here? What is the k value initialized in the for loop?
1.
1. So enter the details for staff 1. It will display as a output in the output screen. So next it will just display enter 0 for teaching, 1 for technical, and 2 for contract. So this particular details will be displayed so that the user have to enter the input. Let's consider user is entering 0. So that will be get as input through next int predefined method, and that will be stored in the array position c of p plus plus. So c of p. What is the p value initialized at the starting? What is the p value initialized? P value is 0. So c of 0th position. C of 0th position we are storing 0. Okay. Now c of 0 equal to 0. Whether the condition is true or false. C of 0 equal to 0. Please respond me whether the condition is true or false. What is the value stored in C of 0? What is the value stored in C of 0? Am I audible to you people? Students, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So what is the value in C of 0? So we stored the input here. Scan.nextInt, we are giving the input as 0. So that is stored in C of 0. So when we are checking C of 0 is 0, 0 equal to 0. The first input we are given input as 0, that is stored in C of 0th position. So C of 0 equal to 0 we are getting. So whether the condition is true or false, can you tell me?
True, sir.
True. Remaining, please respond, be interactive so that you can able to understand the program in easy manner. So the condition is true, we are entering to the if condition. Now we are initiating the particular object O2 of ST is equal to new teaching. So this is the particular object O2 object we are initiating. With use of that object we are asking the inputs. So staff ID, enter the staff ID, we are getting the staff ID that will be stored in O2 of 0.staff ID. Enter the staff name, we are getting the staff name, whatever the staff name he is entering, that will be stored in O2 of 0.name. The same way staff salary will be stored in O2 of 0.salary. Staff phone number will be stored in O2 of 0.phone. Okay. The same way staff domain, whether CSE or ECE or EEE, that will be stored in O2 of 0.domain. So staff publication will be stored in O2 of 0.publications. So here we are getting the number of publications. So these are the inputs we are getting in the teaching. So next iteration will go, then it will ask again whether the next staff, who will be the next staff, because the iteration will be incremented, ST value will be incremented to 1. So 1 less than 3 condition is true. So here it will come, enter details for the staff, K value will be displayed. Previously K value is 1, now K value will be incremented to 2. So enter the details for staff 2, it will display. So we have to enter the number, whether we are entering 0 or 1 or 2. So next time we are entering 1. So it will be incremented. The P value will be incremented. P value will be now 1. C of 1. The C of 1 position, 1 will be stored. Now C of 1 equal to 0. Condition is true or false? C of 1 equal to 0. Please respond fast.
False.
So false. So it will go for else if statement. C of 1 equal to 1. Condition is true or false?
True.
True. True. So that it will enter into the else if statement and just give O3 of ST equal to new technical. So this is the object we have created for O3. So ST value will be 1. So O3 of 1 position we are initiating. Now enter the staff ID. So O3 of 1.staff ID, the staff ID what you are giving, that will be stored. The next way we are giving the staff name, that will be stored in O3 of 1.name. Okay. O3 of 1.salary, O3 of 1.phone, O3 of 1.skills. So these are the ways we can able to store the values what you are giving. All the values what you are giving to technical, that will be stored in O3 of 1 position. So we are giving staff ID, staff name, staff salary, staff phone number, and staff skills. So these are the inputs we are giving in the technical. So next iteration will go. So in the third iteration, the K value will be incremented and ST value also incremented. So what is the ST value now? Can you tell me? What is ST value now? What is ST value now?
True, sir.
2. So 2 less than 3. Condition is true or false? 2 less than 3.
True.
True.
True. Very good. So K value will be incremented now. What is the K value here? Enter the details for staff. K value. What is the K value will be displayed here? 3.
3.
So enter the details for staff 3 will be displayed. And here again we are asking the numbers, whether 0 or 1 or 2. Now let's enter 2. So C of P value. So P value will be already 1. It will be incremented to 2. So 0, 1 we got the inputs. Now we are getting for second position. So in the second C of 2 we are storing 2. Now C of ST value will be 2. So C of 2 equal to 0. What is the value stored in C of 2? What is the value stored in C of 2?
2.
2. 2 equal to 0. Condition is true or false?
False.
false. So it will go for the else if statement. C
Sir,
of 2
how
equal to
become
1. C
C
of 2
of 2
equal
is
to
equal
1.
C of 2 is equal to 2? How becomes?
Not getting your point.
No, C of 2
Louder.
is equal to 2. How become that,
C
sir?
of 2. C of 2 value will be 2 actually. Here we are storing the input in the array C. So P value will be incremented every time. P value will be initially 0. So every time P value will be incremented. First time it will be 0. Second time it will be 1. Next time it will be incremented to 2. So we are retrieving C of 2. ST value will be 2 now. So C of 2 will be 2 because for the second position of the array we gave input as 2. So when you are retrieving C of 2, the value will be 2. So that is not matched with the if condition. Now we are going for the else if. So else if also C of 2 equal to 1. Condition is false. So that we are going to the else part. So else part what we are getting? O4 of ST. What is ST value? 2. O4 of 2 equal to new contract. That the object we are initializing here. Next to this, enter the staff ID we are giving here. Staff ID will be stored in O4 of 2 dot staff ID. Then O4 of 2 dot name, O4 of 2 dot salary, O4 of 2 dot phone number, O4 of 2 dot period. So these are the inputs we are getting from the user that will be stored in the O4 of second position. So now again it will go here to the for loop. The for loop will iterate again. Now the ST value become 3. 3 less than 3. Condition is false or true. 3
False.
less than 3, false. So it will come out of the input statements. What and all the inputs we got, that is got over now. We're going to display the output now. So for displaying output, we are writing the for loop again. So for else equal to 0, L less than num, L plus plus. So num value will be remaining 3 only. So L value will be start from 0. So 0 less than 3, condition is true. So C of L, what is the L value initially? 0. C of 0 equal to 0. Whether the condition is true or false.
True.
What is the value stored in true? Okay. What is the value stored in C of 0? What is the value stored in C of 0?
0.
0. What is the value stored in C of 1?
1. 1.
What is the value stored in C of 2?
2. 2.
2. Very good. So according to that, it will retrieve the values and display the output. So M is equal to 1 we are having. That's for our counter purpose. And we are having the second for loop. So second for loop, we are having T is equal to 0, T less than num, T plus plus. So we are just having the T value starts from 0. So num value will be 3 as it is. So 0 less than 3, condition is true. So it enters into the inner for loop. Here again, we are checking C of T equal to 0. So C of T equal to 0, we are checking. So for this, T value will be, C of 0 value will be 0 only. The condition will be true. M1 equal to 1 we are checking. M1 value we are given in the starting of the declaration. When you are starting the main function, we declare the M value. So M value and M1 value. M1 value we declared as 1 only. That one we are checking here in this particular inner for loop. So M1 equal to 1. The condition will be true only. So here we are just displaying the statement. What the statement we are displaying? System.out.println serial number, staff ID, name, salary, and phone number, domain, and publication. In this case, we have to understand this particular statement has to be displayed for only one time. It should not display again and again. So for that reason, we are controlling the display of this particular statement with use of M1. So next iteration, it will be incremented so that next time it will not be matched. So it will not be displayed again and again. So after displaying the header part, the hyphen will be displayed. That will become as underline down to the header part. Then we are just checking if x equal to 0. The x value we are checking, and x value we declared as 0, so that we are just going for the display of the particular value. So M value will be 1. M value we declared as 1, so it will display as 1. So M value represents the serial number. So O2 of T dot staff ID. So staff ID has to be retrieved. O2 of T value will be 0. O2 of 0th position, the staff ID will be retrieved. Then next iteration, O2 of 0 dot name. So name will be retrieved. Next to that, O2 of 0 dot salary, the salary will be retrieved. Phone number will be retrieved. Domain will be retrieved. The same way, publications also retrieved. So we are just doing this operation and we are just going for the next iteration of the for loop. So next iteration of the for loop, what happens? T value will be incremented. So T value will be incremented. So 1 less than equal to num. So 1 less than equal to num. So num value will be 3. So 1 less than 3 condition is true. So C of 1. So C of 1 equal to 0. Condition is true or false? Pa? C of 1 equal to 0. C of 1 equal to 0. False. So it will go for the next condition. So here we are having else if statement. C of 1 equal to 1. So condition is true or false here?
True.
True.
True. So we are just entering into the else statement. Else statement displays the technical staff detail. So here again we are having MC equal to 1 and we are using a for loop. T2 is equal to 0, T2 less than num, T2 plus plus we are having. So what happens? Here we are just displaying the technical staff member details. Technical staff number header we are putting as serial number, staff ID, name, salary, phone number, and skills. For technical staff we are having skills. So that skills will become in the header part. Then according to that we are just retrieving the particular value. So the position of O3 of 0, O3 of 0 position of staff ID. We are retrieving the staff ID of the technical person, then name of the technical person, salary of the technical person, phone number of the technical person, and skills of the technical person we are retrieving and displaying as output. Next to that, we are going again. Now we are having the next condition. So next condition, we are just incrementing the T value. T value become 2 less than, sorry, here it will be 0. 0 will be incremented to 1. So already we displayed actually. Next to that, we are moving for the next iteration. So next iteration, what happens? We are incrementing the value, whether the C value of the particular position will be incremented, and whatever the incremented value, it is 2. So C of 2 we are checking. When you are checking for C of 2, it's coming true when we are having else if statement here. So the second position, whatever the second position in the array, particular C array, so C of value, whatever the value we are having, that will be 2 in this condition only. So here we are having the for loop and we are trying to display the contract staff details. So serial number, staff ID, name, salary, phone number, and period we are displaying, because for contract staff, the period will be come. So how much time he will be a contract staff in the particular organization, that will be displayed, so that we are given the header like this, and we are retrieving the information from O4 object, O4 of 0, staff ID, O4 of 0 dot name, and we are retrieving the salary and phone number and period we are retrieving. So we are retrieving everything, and when you are going for the further iteration, it will just become L value become 3. When it comes to 3 less than 3, condition will become false. So it will come out of the entire for loop what we are having in the display statement. In the display statement we are having a for loop. So it will come out of this for loop. When the L value becomes 3 less than 3, so it will terminate the for loop and come out of the program. So now let's see the execution of this program. So I am running the program. So we have to give the number of staff members. So I'm going to give only 3. So enter the number of staff. So I'm going to give 3. So it will ask for enter the staff details for staff 1. Students are able to see the output screen what I'm showing to you.
Yes,
Are able
sir.
to see the output screen? Okay. So I'm giving the teaching staff as input. I'm going to give teaching staff as input first, so that I'm giving 0. So enter the staff ID. It's asking. I'm giving 1001 as staff ID. Staff name I'm giving as Raj, and staff salary I'm giving as 3,500, and staff phone number I'm giving as 'So I'm giving the staff phone number. Staff domain I'm giving as CSC, and staff publication I'm giving as 3. So these are the inputs I'm giving for teaching staff. Keep in mind, domain and publication we have to give for teaching staff. Now we have to go for second input. So what is the second input? I am giving technical So technical staff ID I am giving 1002 I am giving, and staff name I am giving as Ram, and staff salary I am giving as 2500. Staff phone number I am giving as like this. I am giving one phone number, and staff skills I am giving as hardware skill. So this is the input I am giving for the second category, that is to be technical staff. When you are getting the input for technical staff, there is no domain or publication, only skill you have to give. Remaining 4 inputs are common inputs for all the 3 categories. Staff ID, name, salary, phone number are common for all the 3 categories. Only difference is for teaching staff you have to get publication and domain. In technical staff you have to get skills. For the third one, contract staff, I am giving an input for contract staff. So staff ID I am giving as 1003, and name, staff name I am giving as Raju, and staff salary I am giving as 1500, and staff phone number I am giving this. So this is the staff phone number I am giving. So staff working period, how much years he will work, I am giving as 2 years. So this is the input I am giving for the last one, that is to be first one is teaching staff, second one is technical staff, the third one is contract staff. For contract staff I am giving the input like this. So the outputs are displayed like this. The first one is for teaching staff. So teaching staff, staff ID, name, salary, phone number, domain and publication we are having. So CS is domain and 3 is the publication. For second one, we are having staff ID, name, salary, and then we are having phone number. The skills we are having, skill we are displaying as hardware. For the third staff, we are having staff ID, name, salary, and we are having phone number, the period, how much year he will work. We are just given us 2. So 2 years. These are the different 3 different categories of staff members. For that, we are given as output. So I hope you understand this program. Any doubts in this program, students? So I hope you understand this program. Those who are not able to understand, I hope today you may get the idea. Now let's move for the 2B program. So 2A we discussed as of now. 2B program I am showing now. Are you able to see the 2B screen, students? Are you able to see the 2B screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 2B question I will read out. Write a Java class called customer to store their name and date of birth. The date of birth format should be DD, MM, YYYY. Write methods to read customer data as name, comma, DD, MM, YYYY. DD slash MM slash YYYY. And display the format as name, comma, DD, comma, MM, comma, YYYY. Mean by you have to get the input 23/03/2020. I am giving the input. So I have to segregate the values. Date I have to segregate, month I have to segregate, year I have to segregate. All the 3 categories I have to segregate separately. With use of comma as a delimiter, I have to display the output. So see the input. Input is DD slash MM slash YYYY. This is the input you have to display. You have to give. While you are segregating, you have to segregate like this. So the output will be displayed as DD, comma, MM, comma, YYYY. So we are using one important package for doing this process. The package name is string tokenizer. So what is meant by tokens? The every individual substring we can take as a token. So DD mean by 23, whatever the input you are giving, 23 number, that is a token. Month 03 you are giving, no, that is a token. Year 1947 or 2020, whatever the year you are giving, that will be taken as a token. So using string tokenizer class, we can able to use this particular program. We can able to achieve this particular task. And the delimiter is slash. Wherever you are seeing the slash, you have to give the delimiter, and you can able to replace the delimiter with use of comma. This what you can able to do in this particular program. The major work is we are using string tokenizer to replace the slash in the form of comma. Let's get inside to the program. So what are all the things we are doing in this program? We are writing a package. Packages daa.lab is the package name. It's a very small program and easy to understand also. So java.lang.system.in we are having. System.in is used for input, for getting input for a particular program. We can use string or integer or character, whatever you want to get as input. You can use system.in. And scanner is used for getting input. Scanner class is used for getting input. Next to that, string tokenizer we are using, that is for splitting the tokens in our current program. So these are the generic packages we are using in our program. Further, we are having public class customer. Customer is the main class, so that you have to save the file name as customer.java. Majority of the students doing this mistake. Whatever the program you are writing, if your main class under a class, whatever the class you are writing, that is the main class, mean by the main function under the particular class, that particular class name should be the file name. Customer.java we are given here, no? That class name should be the file name here. Okay. So here we are giving public class customer, so that it's a public class. It can be accessed anywhere in the program. So here we are using public static void main. So public static void main is the main function. Inside the main function, we are created these variables. What is the variable we created? We created string custinfo. Custinfo is the string variable we created, and we created object for custinfo class. Custinfo is a class we created here. For that class, we are just created the object custinfo. O is the object name equal to new custinfo. Here we are creating object for the class. You know how to create the object for the class. Class name space object name is equal to new class name. That's the way we have to create the object for the class. Now what we are calling the custinfo read. That is a method actually. This method we are reading, and whatever the method returns, that will be stored in this custinfo variable. Okay. Again, we are just calling custinfo write method. For that method, we are passing the variable as parameter. Okay. So we are creating the object here O, and with use of that O object, we are calling the read method, and we are just whatever the value we are retrieving from the read method, that we are storing in the custinfo variable, and we are passing the custinfo variable as a parameter in the custinfo write method. So we are calling two methods. One is for read method, one is for write method. So read method for input and write method for displaying the output. So now let's see the input method, that is going to be custinfo read method. Inside the custinfo class, we are just writing custinfo read method. So what we are doing inside the read method? So we are creating a variable named as cust inside the read method. So inside that, we are just creating objects for the scanner class. Scanner space scans equal to new scanner system.in we are creating. So scan is the object we created here. Now system.out.println, enter the customer details as name, comma, dd/mm/yyyy. Keep in mind, so the entire input, whatever you are getting, that will be in this format. So name, comma, dd/mm/yyyy. So I am entering the input as Raj, comma, 23/03/2020 I am entering. So that will be inserted as an input, and that will be stored in cust. So we are just returning to the called place where we called this cust method. It will return, and that will be stored in this custinfo. So custinfo holds the Raj, comma, 23/03/2020. That's the input that will be stored in custinfo. Now we are just calling the write method o.custinfo write. Here we are just passing the particular custinfo parameter variable as parameter. So it will call the custinfo write method. So custinfo write method, what we are retrieving? So here custinfo we are retrieving as a string. So what we will retrieve here, What we will retrieve here? Can anyone tell me what we will retrieve here when we are calling custinfo write method? Respond fast.
Details.
Repeat. Not audible.
Details, sir.
Details of what? What the input we will retrieve here? Can you tell me exactly what we gave there? what the name we gave there, what the date we gave there, that will be retrieved here. So we gave Raj and 23/03/2020 we gave as input here. So that will be retrieved here. So what we are passing in the string tokenizer class. We are calling the string tokenizer class. This is a generic class. Keep in mind, this is not a user defined class. This is a generic class. For that class, we are creating the object. ST is the object for string tokenizer class equal to string tokenizer of. We are passing the parameter. What is the parameter we are passing? We are passing the input what we received from the input method, that is Raj, 23/03/2020 we are passing as input here, slash is the tokenizer. Mean by what? You have to remove the slash and you have to retrieve the values. That is the main thing. Here the important part comes. Here you have to understand properly. While loop we are using st dot has more tokens. So what happens is st will be taken and every time the tokens will be retrieved and that will be stored in a separate variable. So here we are just taking the first token, st dot next token. So next token, it will just retrieve the dd value, that is mean by 23. 23 will be stored here because we are keeping the tokenizer as that delimiter as what is the delimiter character as slash we gave here, so that the slash only it will take, only the dd yy it will take. It will not take the name because there is no slash between name and dd. That is only comma. So it will consider only this dd slash slash yy. So dd it will take. So dd will be stored in string dd. So the string tokenizer will just retrieve the particular date value and that will be stored in dd. So st dot next token it will be So month will be 03, that will be stored in So next token, that will be the year, that is said to be 2020, that will be stored in YYYY. So we got DD, MM and YYYY. So now we have to display in this particular format what we are displaying actually. The customer details are DD, MM, YYYY, it will be displayed here as output. So according to this particular input what we got, the name and the date, month, year will be given in the slash format. According to the string tokenizer, we segregated the date, month, year in a separate variables and we are displaying those as the output here. So that's what we are doing here in this particular program. Any doubts in this program, students? Let's execute this program.
So while loop will you explain again, sir?
Which one?
While loop, sir.
So while loop has more tokens we are having. So every time it will just iterate the particular value, whatever the value we are giving the delimiter as slash here. So it will consider only the dd, yy. So it will go here and it will just try to retrieve the particular part and whether the token is matching with slash. So it will discard the slash and just dd will be stored in the string dd. Whatever the 23 we gave as input, that will be stored in dd. So next token, what the next token we are having is mm. So mm will be stored here and whatever the value stored in mm, that will be retrieved in string mm. So we gave 03 as input, so 03 will be stored in mm. So next iteration, the YYYY will be there, that is 2020 we gave as input. So that will be stored in the string YYY. Next it will just display the dd value, mm value and yy value. Mean by 23, 03 and 2020 by comma separations. Next it will go and check for the next value. There is no other value apart from this. So it will conclude the while loop and come out of the while loop. So the control will go to the main function and there is no call again. So the main function will be concluded here and it will terminate the program. So let's execute this program and check out the output for this particular program. So enter the customer details it's asking actually. I'm giving the customer details as name, Raj, 23/03/2020 I'm giving. So this is what the input I'm giving. Are you able to see the output screen, students? Are you able to see the output screen what I'm showing to you?
Yes, sir.
Please respond first. Okay. Now what the output we will get? The output what we are getting is Raj, comma 23, comma 03, comma 2020 we are getting. So whatever the input we got, that will be segregated with use of the comma delimiter. The slash will be removed and comma will be replaced. So what we have done actually, we segregated the values one by one. 23 will be segregated, 03 will be segregated, and 2020 will be segregated. That will be segregated with use of string tokenizer, and we are just using string tokenizer methods that are generic methods we are having with use of next token method. That is a generic token. Next token is a generic method that will be inside the generic class called string tokenizer. Keep in mind what and all the method you are using has more tokens and next token. All these things are under the generic class called string tokenizer. Without this class, without importing this particular package, you are not able to use these methods because these are predefined methods. These predefined methods are inside the particular class. Okay, so you have to understand properly how to use the how to import the package, how to create object for the class, how to call the particular predefined methods, all these things. So 2A and 2B, you got some idea. So yesterday I included 2A program in your Google Classroom. So